Welcome back for another beer tasting experience. I'm Kevin with CrafTeeBeer. And that's where you were supposed to ask, what do we have for today's beer experience? We've got an American Pale Ale. Today's American Pale Ale is from 18th Street Brewing, and it's the Temporal Purgatory. It's a 5.9% ABV, what they call Session Pale Ale. So 18th Street Brewing was started in 2013. They're in Hammond, Indiana.
No way, Hoosiers!
And their first beer was the Sinister Double IPA. I've never had anything from 18th Street, haven't heard of them before, so I'm interested to find out a little more about them, and you're coming along with me to find out. The Temporal Purgatory. Temporal means worldly, not spiritual.
Sir, are you making that up?
Somehow we're going to end up in purgatory in a worldly sense and not a spiritual sense. So that must mean something. Hopefully we can figure that out. The can is a 1 pint. We have the 1 pint can. It's got the kind of label that you can almost peel off. It's a sticker, but it's purple silver. It's got the typical graveyard purgatory theme, tombstone, skeletons, weird umbrella demon things.
Wow! Oh, it's so pretty! And spooky.
If you know what those are supposed to be, they look like crazy umbrella monsters to me, but you see that we have the graveyard purgatory theme. Let's go find out more about 18th Street Brewing and more about this beer. 18th Street Brewery. This one's new to me. Haven't had anything from them before. Founded as a home brewery by Drew Fox in 2010. As I mentioned earlier, their first beer was a Sinister Double IPA in 2013. They opened a brew pub and an old dry cleaners in Gary, Indiana. They outgrew that, purchased a new 32,000 square feet warehouse in Hammond. And that's where they do their production, brewery, and packaging now. Apparently it has a tap room and full service kitchen. Sounds great.
That's a good story.
So the APA, the American Pale Ale style, let's quickly take a peek at what we're looking for here. Deep golden copper in color, fruity, floral, citrus-like American variety hops, so the typical characteristics of an American hop. Can have a medium or to a medium high hop bitterness. Okay, flavor, aroma. Traditional style beer has its origins in certain floral, fruity, citrus, piney, resinous. Basically the style is all about the American hops from that description, so that's what we'll go with. It's all of that floral, fruity, and piney stuff. Love it. Let's bring it on.
I am ready!
So, an APA, American Pale Ale, I'm guessing is going to be the American version of an IPA. It's all about the American hops though, and we all know the characteristics that the American hops have. I'm not sure why we're going to end up in purgatory with this, but I'm going to get this thing into the glass and we're heading to purgatory.
Purgatory? What's that?
Come along. Medium to dark gold color, slightly hazy, 2 fingers of an off-white head bubbling out through it, some visible carbonation, just a golden beer. Another good looking beer.
Really? Again?
Let's see what it smells like. Piney resin, a little floral, a little citrus. So maybe they set me up with that preconceived notion with all those American hop descriptions, but This smells like American hops. Yes, a little bit of lemony citrus, some floral, some piney resin, all of that stuff. I'm not going to repeat myself, even though I already did. I'm going in. Cheers. Ooh, really well done. Not bright fruit, not bright citrus, not tropical. It's dank fruit, grassy resin profile. Not over the top bitter, just a little bit of bitter followed that initial floral resin dank fruit and left a little bitter behind. The bitter chased it out the back door, but it left something behind. Really well done. And so 5.9% ABV, you know, not a crazy, you know, double IPA or something. I mean, it cleans up mouthfeel wise, but it definitely leaves a little bitter behind. Yeah, this bitter is a little different. A lot of times I get either the bitter in the back of my tongue, or sometimes I get the bitter that a coffee bitter from some darker beers is in my throat. This, oddly enough, is like a bitter on the top, the roof of my mouth is where the bitter is hanging around on this one.
That sounds weird.
All those fruits that you think of with American hops are there. There's just something about them where they're a little darker, a little sinister. I guess that's the purgatory. You know, the lemon, a little bit of grapefruit maybe. Tangerine is in there, but it's not a bright tangerine. It's a dark tangerine. I don't know how to describe it anything other than that. So it's really interesting that it's not that high note, it's that low note of all those fruits. Tangerine, maybe some lemon, grapefruit, a little bit of that grassy resin kicking around on the outside of the barrel somewhere. So this, I mean, you could describe this as American hops end up in purgatory.
Why did he say that?
Let's go see what some other people think about this. Beer Advocate has it at 4.15, and that's really good. That's an exceptional rating. 156 ratings. Doesn't seem like a lot of ratings. I'm not sure if this is new, how long it's been out. If you know, leave me a comment. But that's a good rating there, so they really liked it. Untapped has it as a 3.88, a little bit lower in the spectrum than Beer Advocate did, but I think Untapped ratings tend to run a little bit lower. It's got 9,113 ratings, so a far bigger sample size. People seem to like this, which I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to go check this in on Untapped. Another one checked in. Went with a 4 rating. It's a solid 4. Really like it. Gave it the description of lemon, grapefruit, and others that are a bit dank, not bright fruit. As I said, the fruit's all there. Lemon, grapefruit, it's just not that bright. It's like fruit that's been like left out for a little bit, and it's just mellowed. Add some pine resin, bitter follow-up, and you have this American hop gem. So it's the representation of all the American hops. And as I've been drinking it, I noticed that there's a little bit of malt sweetness in there. It's mixed in, it's roaming around, trying to find its place in purgatory. So there's a little bit of sweetness going on around the bitter back end and the darker fruits, not dark fruit, but that muted citrus fruits. So that makes it a little bit of a complex story, which is great. Again, well done. Gave it the flavor profile of hoppy, citrus, smooth, and piney. That kind of gets to the point. So there you go. That's where I check this in on Untapped. Temporal Purgatory, 18th Street Brewing. Not sure we got to the bottom of the name, but I really liked it. It's an American Pale Ale, or it's as they called it, a Session Pale Ale, 5.9%. If you've had something from 18th Street, give me a comment. If you've had this one, let me know what you thought of it.
Tell him.
I really liked it. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this. So social media nonsense is in the comments. subscribe, do all that stuff. And until the next beer tasting experience, I'm Kevin with CrafTeeBeer. Cheers.